Hi
Good
Karthik.
afternoon, everyone. Hi, welcome to the 17th edition of Coffee with Ashish. And today we've got a very special guest with us, Rohit Kapoor from Oyo. And it's a special company. We are all aware of it, and it needs no introduction. And so does Rohit. And one of the reasons why it's so special is on the course of this show, over 16 sessions, you've spoken about a lot of products in the travel industry, whether it's car, whether it's hotels, whether it's air, GDS, GSAs, and whatnot. And within hotels, our focus had been more around, large scale MNC hotel chains or premium properties. We had Neelu Singh from HRS, who talked about, sort of luxury hotel categories. But we all know that for an average traveler, whether corporate or leisure, right? The main category of hotels is budget category, and budget category is extremely notorious not only in India but all the more so in India than other parts of the world in terms of what's promised versus what's delivered. And we're all aware of the challenges which you and I as travelers as well face when we are opting for a budget travel. And as always, I have a small cartoon to sort of capture what happens when you try to experience a budget hotel in India, even outside, as backpacker. The pricing options are not very transparent. So somebody says whether you want a 40 pound room or 60 pound, and when you go into the details, you realize that the difference is only because it's got a free television or a Wi-Fi. And on the second screen on the right, you see that you selected a 4 star, and from the roof you can actually see 7 stars. So these kind of experiences, I'm sure all of you would have experienced when booking a budget category hotel. And I think the reason why what sort of Oyo did was so special and unique was it actually made us realize that there's a difference between cheap and affordable. So a lot of people used to think you're either booking a great property at a premium price, or otherwise you are just booking a cheap property, and you sort of are entitled to not get serviced well because you are booking a cheap hotel. So even from the staff to the whole demeanor of the property would be that since you have booked a cheap hotel, do not have high expectations from us. And that's then we all accepted it even as a consumer. So I think it was very revolutionary when Oyo not only did it for the end customers or consumers, but also from the hotel partners' perspective. They actually flipped the model, and the way they introduced standardization in the whole process, introduced transparency, and introduced a consistency in experience across India. And now even it was a proud moment for all of us when last year Oyo acquired Hooters in Las Vegas, and that sort of made me personally feel very proud that we actually have a company coming out of India that's got a truly global footprint. And you must have seen, few weeks back, Ivanka Trump also praised Oyo for them opening up their properties in the US for the health workers. And I think it's really amazing to see. We talk about startups all the time who have made it big, but I think here's a startup, or a unicorn which has actually made sizable impact on a global scale. And to talk about more about Oyo and its journey, I mean, we've got none other than Rohit Kapoor, who heads the Southeast Asia market for Oyo. And Rohit, it's really amazing to see your journey. I know you're not traditionally from a hospitality industry, and you have actually, got an diverse experience of more than 20 years. And before this, you were also, part of Max Healthcare and Religare. You were the executive board member at Max Healthcare for 5 years, and you also spent a significant. And that's where I can also start to relate with you on a very different level. You've been a consultant. I've also been a consultant. So that's something we shared. You worked at McKinsey and company for almost more than a decade, and you have been also on the board of Max One Distribution and Crosby Remedies. You've been featured as ISP's most influential alumni in the ISP portrait. That's really amazing. And you also done CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst. So as I, and the interesting part which I like about you is that I personally believe that people like you who are so inspirational should also give back to the society in terms of helping academia improve. So I'm really amazed to see how you are also being connected to the academia, and you do a lot of guest lecture, and you are a visiting faculty at SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, IMT Ghaziabad, and Vedic scholars. That's really appreciable. And on a personal front, again, I start to relate with you, Rohit. Although I have my achievements are minuscule in comparison to you, but I can relate on these superficial level. So you bicycle from Manali to Leh, which is one of the toughest cycling routes. And Ashish also know I am a avid follower of Leh. I've been there many times, snow leopard and whatnot. So I'm crazy about spending time in Ladakh. So I'm really enjoy reading that about you. And I also really like the fact that you play the role of a caddy for your children, your 7-year-old daughter and 16-year-old son, and support their passion for golf at such a young age. So truly amazed to see your profile, Rohit, and I'm sure we're all gonna learn a lot from you in terms of your journey. So with this, a very warm welcome to you, Rohit, to our show. And I'm also gonna hand it over now to Ashish, who's gonna have a conversation with you while I sit back and enjoy my coffee.
Thank you, Karthik, for that very generous and somewhat embarrassing introduction. But thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Rohit. I see you have an ISB cup, and I hope you're enjoying your coffee.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you. It's my school where I come from.
Right. So actually, I didn't even care to find out, honestly. I must confess till about half an hour ago that what do the 3 letters in the word OYO stands for? And I'm sure many of us listening in would not know. So do you want to tell us? Do they have a significance? Do they have a meaning?
Yeah. So look, now the brand is OYO. I think it's a beautiful brand name. It's short, simple, very global and easy to pronounce. But what I believe it started off somewhere from the words "on your own," and it's OYO from that strung together to create the brand.
Right. Interesting. And of course, that's what it signifies, that it sets up standard parameters for the room which you want to own. But coming back, OYO is, of course, spread out in different geographies, different markets, and a very standardized kind of offering across the globe. And there comes COVID. So I'd like you to just brief us, how does Indian market compare to the rest of the world and specific markets at the time of such pandemic breaking through? Is India reacting differently? Is parts of the world reacting differently? So on and so forth, in terms of OYOs and occupancies and traveler.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish. I think that's a great question for these times. Yes, every country has responded very differently to the pandemic, right? And as you have been following, no country has followed the same doctrine. And what has happened to hotel or travel has largely been determined by the extent of lockdown or government regulations. So India, at least in the first 2 phases, was a very stringent lockdown, where hotels were nothing was allowed to operate for quite some time except bare essential services. But technically, hotels will open up only on June 8th. Before this, what was allowed was 3 or 4 specific use cases, like quarantine, self-isolation, for stranded tourists, or for supporting our warriors who are battling COVID for us in society. That this is not the case globally. So, for example, if you look at US, it was state by state. A lot of states, the hotels have continued to be open all throughout, right? Or in China, where they shut down, but they opened up again. So the experience is very different, but there are some trends. So, for example, if you look at our European vacation homes business, right? And Europe also is not same, because different countries have taken different positionings, like Sweden versus Italy versus France or Spain.
Right.
But depending on wherever they are, the one phenomena we are seeing is that not at huge velocity, but strongly, I'll say, bookings are coming back. Even in Europe for the summer or the peak summer season, bookings are back. The same STR data is there for China, where you see the budget chains have come back to about mid-40 occupancies, whereas luxury and upscale are also climbing up, but not at the same pace and level. So right now, different experiences across the world. India is the most stringent lockdown, and the occupancies probably in India have collapsed the most across hotels. But that was because it was under the sort of prohibited category till June 8th,
right,
which is 5 days from now, 6 days from now. Yeah.
Right. So you're saying everybody has different characteristics and obviously different revenue pipelines globally across. But then coming back to pipelines and revenue, what do you see the future of the hospitality industry going forward from here? Maybe over the next 2 years?
Yeah. Look, it is, I will say, a question of, it is human nature. When you are in extremely good times, you always can never imagine that anything bad can happen, right? Equally, when you're in extremely bad times, you almost find it very difficult to imagine good times, right? Because the present constraints or the present optimism always shrouds your judgment, right? So that's what's happening now. That the if you read any prediction for the hospitality, is very bleak, right? The reams of paper have been written on this and lots of shows, etc. I personally believe I'm more of an optimist, right? I do believe that there's parts of hospitality which will come back, right? Look, at this point in time, keeping each other safe is our biggest priority. No questions asked, right? I think all of us have a moral responsibility to keep ourselves safe and in return, our fellow citizens safe. But as that gets into more control, I see the following bouncing back. One is really the younger people who are less susceptible to COVID and want to travel, right? And also just more adventurous by DNA.
Yeah,
I think that segment will come back. Everybody has been cooped up in their homes for 2-3 months, so the urge is even stronger, right? Second is SMEs, where they need to travel and really can't work from home. It's an impractical solution for actually this work from home thing. I know it's the biggest trend, but just an aside, whenever I hear work from home, I think 2% of India, right? Because 90% of India has no option but to work from home. Right. So that segment which needs to travel, which the cloth merchant who needs to come to Delhi to buy something or go to Ahmedabad to buy something, they will travel. And when they travel, they will stay because they need to.
Right.
The businesses run on daily cash flows. The third will be a trend where corporates, and this is something which is going to happen, is where hospitality decisions are no longer be only an HR or admin domain. The CFO is going to be equally involved.
Yeah,
given that GNA is going to be a big challenge. So we would see people looking for more value, right? And those who can deliver more value will stand to gain a little bit. And lastly, I think as things, pilgrimage will be back quickly, because pilgrimage, again, there is a innate faith India operates on, right? Saying, हमारा एक वो हमेशा कहना होता है ना, जो होनी को किसने देखा है, या God will decide what. So we are very religious or spiritual people, and we like to go to where we find peace and solace, right? And that will start. So, for example, Uttarakhand, I just read in the newspapers today, or was it yesterday, that the Char Dham Yatra is starting with some guide rails, right? So I find that will come back. Last, I think really people like us will use hotel rooms, right? Because we have an option to work on Zoom. But that's very small part of India. So if I combine all this, and there are trends also which I foresee, but this will mean that we'll start seeing a relatively strong bounce back starting July, August.
Sure. And you know, guys with a model like you have, also have a very difficult position that you have to support the asset owners, because people own these assets. And if they survive, the network survives. So what is OYO doing to make that happen current times?
हम हिंदी में कहते हैं उनकी दुकान हमारी दुकान.
Correct.
Right? Look, we've been, and there's no doubt that people's cash flows have been hit and they're under stress, right? So we've been working with them not today, but from end March onwards, when we started this, seeing this happen. So multiple things. One is really reducing our take rate in certain cases to give them relief or even waivers during this period. We have a product called OYO Secure, which is a wallet-based product on which the partners can participate. We really lowered the threshold entry amounts, and that product has seen record acceptance. Actually, the enrollment into that product in in April and May has been almost 2x of March.
Right.
Because people saw this as an opportunity to come in at a relatively low entry barrier, right? Third is, more importantly, being true partners in terms of knowledge and leading from information. So I remember this was late March when I called a company meeting and all of us were there and we said, let's double down on two things only right now. One is what we can do for society and do it in a big way, right? And a meaningful way. Second is world will come back. I only don't know when, the exact words, but it will come back. Let's prepare for that world today.
Right.
So the company has been working like 14 hours a day flat out for the last 2 months, designing SOPs, protocols, measurement systems, technology changes for the day when the sector opens up again. What does it mean for the partner? Minimal touch SOP. Beyond that, we've created something called a sanitized stay, where if partners adhere to that level, which is in fact higher than what is acceptable level of hygiene, cleanliness standards, they get a tag called sanitized stay, which is featured on the app. So as a consumer, you can see sanitized stay and say, okay, I need more assurance. I will choose this, right? All partners will anyway follow the guidelines of the government, etc. But this is an even higher standard than that. So that has been happening. About 1,000 partners trained on that. About 15,000 will be done in June, right? And interestingly, Ashish, what we have seen is that sometimes change is hard because nobody's prepared for it. Sometimes change is not so hard to convince people from that standpoint because people are themselves expecting it. We did a webinar last week with Ritesh, myself speaking on video and all our regional heads there. 2,000 partners logged in, 2,000, right? To learn about the SOPs and what are the changes. Because the curiosity is very high. It is their business. They actually want to do it very well. And I feel I feel positive that there is clear thinking of minds when it comes to the realization that the consumers will want different things.
You know, barely 1 minute out of the colony, I live in Delhi, and obviously walks are curtailed these days, but it was my route for walking, is this Oyo Town Hall in Anand Lok, Delhi.
Townhouse.
And, you know, I must tell you, the Glazed coffee shop has somehow become quite a happening place. I always thought Oyo was meant to be staying in, but this is actually a coffee shop of that townhouse become pretty often. That's good. These kind of you know, community and positioning need to come in. So what are the customer-centric initiatives specifically taken in these times? We've talked about the asset owners, we've talked about the changing times. What are we doing for the customers?
Look, I think for the customers, the biggest initiatives that we're driving are towards making sure that when they check into an Oyo, they feel reassured, right? They feel safe. So it's the contra to what we're training the partners on is exactly the things the consumers will experience as they walk in, right? And I think that has been a relentless pursuit. So every day, like dozens of hotels are getting training, right? They're opening and more importantly, fundamentally, again, Oyo reopening all over India will mean more and more choice for our customers, right? Because there are a lot of customers who just love our value proposition. Just to give you a sense, our repeat rate has steadily between 70 and 75%. So 75% of our customers are always people who have used us in the past, right? So there's a very loyal client base. And the interesting thing is, even though the hotels in many parts are closed, we are getting 3x the inquiries to say Kab khol rahe ho aap, right? Which shows that the inbound interest is already there. Now, how much translates into action, we'll see. Right? But there is a lot of and in Ashish, sometimes when you can't go out to the sea to fish, you repair your nets. So we have been repairing our nets on every front, whether it's customers or partners, because in any company you always wish this was better, right? Internally. And this 2 months, although the loss of business is tremendous, but we still found a unique opportunity to make sure that all that we wanted to do, we fixed right now. So we have not been idle. We've been really, really slogging it out.
Right. So great
The
learnings.
team has been busy.
Yeah, great learning
Great,
from this.
great learnings. Great learning. So, for example, I found an opportunity to talk to 2-3 customers every day, partners every day, which is on a usual BAU week is hard. Maybe you talk to 1 or 2 a week, right? But just being on calls with for hour, 2 hours with partners, customers, just listening, saying, and there, it's amazing how minutely they describe each experience, right? And weaving that back into processes and our systems. A lot of leaders are doing that today. So those have been very, very invaluable downtime moments in a way.
Though you already described it earlier, the upcoming travel trends, but if you were to summarize that for the audience, so they shape their business plans based on the upcoming trends, how would you do that?
So I'll say 4 or 5 things will definitely happen. One is road travel will really come strong, right? So destinations and hotels which are in striking distance of cities or large demand centers, right, but where you can just reach by with your own personal or hired vehicle, because we believe people will prefer to drive on their own rather than take a train or a flight for some time, right? And they'll also want to be within striking zone of coming back to their base location, because the uncertainty immediately is a little high on which border gets open, which border gets closed, things like that. Second is longer duration stays in the same hotel. For a very simple reason that let's imagine that you or I went to one state earlier as a domestic tourist. The tendency earlier was to go to 5 places and cover everything. There's this whole mindset which is very us, say कि सब कुछ देखा कि नहीं, right? कि यहाँ भी गए, वहाँ भी गए, वहाँ भी गए, वहाँ भी गए, वापस आ गए, बोला कि ट्रिप बहुत अच्छी थी, सब कुछ देखा.
You want to tell your neighbors you've been to 5 places.
Correct. It's almost like I remember on every hill station we'll get this 7-point horse ride, 5-point tour. If you remember those day trips where they'll take you to a mountaintop and say sunset point and sunrise point and you know, this is the monkey point and all those things. So we like touching and saying that बहुत कुछ किया, right? But I think that'll wane a little bit, and people will say, I'm going there, I need a break, I don't want to hop around too much. So I will go, but I'll stay in one place for 6-7 days.
Yeah.
Right. So in the next 6 to 12 months, right? And then normal behavior will start again as things become absolutely normal. So stays will get longer. Is a second piece. Third is smaller hotels, which are just less crowded or feel like relatively closer to your own space, will find more favor, right? Simply because you don't want to be in a location where too many people are there, and the perception of too many people being there. And last but not the least, I think pricing will be very interesting because at some level, the customers whose wallets have been hit will be looking for attractive pricing. Chains will discount for sure. But how much they can discount without really hurting their cost structure is not clear. Equally, partners and asset owners will like to see that their minimum cash flows are maintained, right? So the pricing normalcy and elasticity, none of the old curves will hold true.
Yeah.
So we always had a very scientific way of pricing. We'll have to rediscover the kinks and align those curves back again. That will come through real data as it starts pouring in.
Right. So that leads me as a sub questions. We've talked about domestic travelers, but have you had India as a source market, Indians traveling out to overseas OYO rooms, they stay there by choice, or that's not been happening? Because they're so used to the brand, but no.
It happens. So I get a lot of, these SMSs saying, oh, I am here and, I saw an OYO, how fantastic is that, right? Yeah. But having said that, I look at the India market, and for us, the demand is 99% domestic, right? We don't depend on international tourists at all, right? So in present time, that feels okay. because I don't think international tourists are coming back in a hurry, given the complexities around flights and coming in and getting out of the country. Right?
Yeah.
So that feels okay. But let's see. I think international travel, by and large, will be slow. It will be the slowest segment to pick up.
Right. I do sort of empathize on the social norms which your asset owners will have to follow across, because large properties, 5-star properties, have one equation, and smaller hotel guys one equation. You open liquor shops, and before you realize, people are queuing in front of them. So similarly, smaller hotels, I wonder. So it's going to be a tough ask. How would you react to getting that implemented on ground?
Look, I'm more hopeful because, honestly speaking, we have been talking about this so much that I think they're tired of us talking about it. Right? हमने इतना बोला इस बारे में, right? And while the world is talking a lot about technology, and look, we are a tech-enabled, tech-led company, right? But tech operates at the back end for very deep and specific purposes. But some of the things are going to be very simple, right? That distance marker in front of the reception, or simply the fact that somebody is offering you a sanitizer, it's available. It's keeping yourself safe is only 3 things, no, right now. Stay 6 feet away, clean your hands, don't touch surfaces unnecessarily, and maybe wear a mask for sure, right, in public places. Now, if I go out on the road today in Gurgaon, the percentage of people I see wearing masks is close to 98-99%. Right? It's become the new seat belt, right? If you remember, seat belts used to be such a big challenge in India, but then something happened, right? Whether it was a fines or behavior, at least the driver's seat belt became a norm in most Indian cities, and very quickly, till it pointed become a reflex action as soon as you got into your seat, right? So I think the trigger this time has been so unique and so powerful that the change that we are seeing, looks, some of those queuing up outside liquor shops are very silly things to do, right? I understand that shouldn't be done, but by and large, I see people behaving reasonably well. So I'm hopeful that with nudges, guidance, that security guard who's at the hotel, he needs to play a role, or she needs to play a role, and it's a little bit of training, saying logon ko dur rakho thoda, right? And constant reminders. So it's not going to be perfect. It's very hard, but I'm more optimistic.
Yeah, as I say, it will become the new normal, whatever that normal is, right?
It is.
And I'm going to move you back to Karthik, who might have an audience question, but no discussion with the leadership with OYO is complete, or to ask, how do you view yourself as a unicorn? And the valuation, everybody talks OYO, Paytm, Byju's. How do you guys react to all this? Internally or externally, or you don't even bother?
Honestly, Ashish, this is never a conversation inside, right? We're so busy solving so many issues, right? And I think the company gets very excited by new ideas on acquisition of partners, or working with them better, or new customer ideas, or new revenue idea, or new product, right? I've never had a discussion where anybody was excited discussing that this is the valuation and wow, it's fantastic, or this news article came. I think it's bizarre how less that is spoken about inside the company. We never, even at a leadership level, I have been like now 16, 18 months in the company. I don't remember a single leadership group conversation which we were discussing valuation of the company.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right? Genuinely not. It's very hard to convince people outside that that's the case, because you read so much about it.
Sure.
But truly, it seems like two different worlds, what you read versus what I experience inside.
Great. So, Karthik, do we have questions from the audience or anything?
So thanks, Rohit. I mean, personally, it's been a lot of learning for me. In fact, I like that. And I think Ashish and I have had so many conversations about people working from home and what does that mean. But I think you brought a very interesting metric that's only almost 2% of the entire workforce. And sometimes we miss that bigger picture, that there are a lot of people who are still going to travel. But even if we focus about that 2% or 3%, do you see any new interesting models coming up in terms of, I know at one point in time, and again, this is what I hear from public news, you would know better, like people, take companies like OYO diversifying into co-living, or creating new sort of interesting living spaces which could be intertwined with work as well as living. So that's question number one. Do you see that play happening with work from home situation? And second is, I know we touched upon the fact that you are using this time to develop technology to sort of manage your partner hotels with the new world order. But how do you see the dynamics play out? Because as you said, the customer is not going to pay a lot because of their pockets have been hit by COVID. But at the same time, your hotel partners would need to incur additional cost to manage whether PPE, sanitation, social distancing, and whatnot. So that's a double whammy, right? Customers not ready to pay, but your mid-sized hotel partners would actually incur additional cost to implement it. So how do you see that playing out? So these are the two broad set of questions, if you may touch.
Yeah, Karthik, two very long questions. Let me take the second one first, and maybe I forgot the first one, so I'll ask you to repeat it. So on the second one, look, it is. I always remember that the only golden metric in hoteling is RevPAR, not price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a function of both the price and occupancy. Right? So as long as the partner sees a higher RevPAR, it's a fixed cost business largely.
Right. Right.
So you can drive 10% occupancy at X price or 90% occupancy at Y price. Now, if the multiplication of 90 into that occupancy is superior, much superior, it's a better deal, right? And I think this is one thing that I do want to emphasize, that there is often a myth that we set a price as the industry. I think this is the biggest myth we need to bust. The customers choose the price. There's always an alternative. This is a highly competitive market, right? The customers choose the price they want to pay for a certain kind of a product. And they vote with their feet every time. And this is not about irrational discounting. This is about really finding that optimal curve where price into volume maximizes where.
Sure.
Right? And we are just good at that. I think that's a core strength for us. That our data sciences and our algos, and like I'll tell you, I can pretty much tell you day of the week, hour of the week, certain location, what will be the price maximum, right? Into train arrivals, aircraft arrivals, because that's what we do. We are a data science backed company, right? Now, you may disagree saying this price is low or high, but my data shows me that the maximum RevPAR will be generated at this price.
Amazing.
Right? So I think that's one thing that we'll continue to do. Your first question was around,
living spaces. So I was just talking about the concept of co-living, working from home in a hybrid sort of a space.
Yeah. See, co-living is a very robust category, right? So last year's numbers, there were about, if I remember correctly, about 35 million people moved cities every year for either work or education, young workforce or students. It's a large number. Right? Right? Now, when that many people move or migrate, and migrants is a very used word, so I mean migrate from their hometown to a different city, right? They need certain space at a certain X price, right? Co-living really is a very solid industry from that standpoint. Now, there's always also this discussion which has happened, and that will there be de-urbanization, where people because it's work from home, you can work from a Jhansi or a Nagpur.
Work from hometown, as Ashish.
Work from hometown, yeah.
I doubt it, right? And I have roots from my mother's side in small towns, right? The person who leaves a small town for a Bangalore does not come just for the job.
Other aspirations around it.
She comes for the aspiration. She comes for development. She comes from for a social order which is different, right? Now, nothing's good or bad. All are good. All are good from their own standpoints. But I'm just describing the consumer to you, right? Now, you can make the person say you can work from home from your city, hometown, but it's not the same as staying in a Bangalore Koramangala and experiencing that city. Right. So you may still have work from home, but that person may choose to work from home from a co-living place in Bangalore while staying in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Right. So I personally feel that right now people have moved back to their hometown. That's a natural reaction. When you're away or you have not been able to visit for 2-3 months, and there's uncertainty in the year, you want the comfort of home. It's like माँ के हाथ का खाना,
Right.
right?
Bang on.
जब आपको
Right.
स्ट्रेस होता है लाइफ में तो आप कहते हैं घर का खाना खाना है, right? बहुत हो गया ऐसा, right? but वो टेम्पररी होता है, right?
Right.
It's also not a permanent reaction. So I feel that industry has legs, and it will do well. And we are one of the
Fair enough.
largest players there, so it will do well. I think we are.
No,
we are
thanks
better.
for articulating, and I think it's very interesting for all of us to know that there is a solid data science backing pricing mechanism and what you do, and it's not. Sometimes people, tend to believe that they have raised so much of funding, so it's just irrational discounting. So guys, it's not that. There's a lot of maths and science going behind it, what they do, and it's not purely discounting because of they
So
have.
literally the last line, discounting is used for acquiring customers, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
70% of my customers are repeat, 20% are organic, 10% are paid, right?
No.
We set prices which match what the customers require,
Mm-hmm.
and what maximizes revenue for our partners. Now it's sometimes hard to understand because it is intricate, right?
Yeah.
But that's the truth.
Wow, very insightful. Ashish, do you have any closing remarks?
No, except I hope to resume my morning walks and pass the Oyo properties soon, which we haven't been able to do. And Rohit, I look forward to catching up with you in real times.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Karthik. You have been very gracious with me. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Rohit. Hope to see you again soon. And thank you everyone for joining us on Facebook Live. And we will be back again on Thursday with our next session with Prakash of Redbus. So stay tuned and we will see you soon. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Stay